Was easy. You're struggling to stay awake. Your memory is fading.
Our great First Lady, who's here someplace. Let's see. I think this is our First Lady.
Your dear lifelong friends are dead. And no matter what you do, you just can't get your poll up. It's time to make yourself great again with Resign. Go back to doing the things you love. No more intelligence briefings, questions about the war you started, or shaking hands with the French. Resign will lift the weight of the world off your cankles so you can grab life by the again. Ask your conscience if Resign is right for you. Side effects include spontaneous celebrations, loss of ballroom, and firm global erections that will last for years to come. Get your life back and give us ours with Resign.
And I approve this message.
Are you ready for it?
We need an economy that works for all of us, not just the billionaire class.
Thing Indivisible plans to be part of is something a little different. Different not just in terms of approach, but in terms of what they are asking of people and in terms of what kind of impact it might have. They're calling it Mayday Strong. And Mayday is May 1st, and that's this Friday, this week. They're calling this Friday, May 1st, a nationwide day of economic disruption. And the idea is very simple. No work, no school, no shopping on that one day, Friday, May 1st. Joining us now is Ezra Levin, co-founder of Indivisible, which is one of more than 600 groups putting together this day of action. Mr. Levin, it is nice to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Great to see you, Rachel.
This is something a little bit different. Tell us the thinking behind this different approach and what you're expecting to see on Friday.
It is a little bit different, Rachel. I think people have grown used to, on a Saturday, we have a historic number of people showing up. And I'm incredibly proud to be part of the No Kings movement, where we had 5 million, then 7 million, then more than 8 million people after the largest protest in American history. But I would view this as a tactical escalation. It is inspired in no small part by the incredible organizing we saw in the Twin Cities. There was a day of truth and freedom, is what they called it, if you'll remember, at the end of January, where in sub-zero temperatures, we saw thousands of faith leaders, community leaders, nurses, teachers, just members of that community linking arms and saying, we're not going to treat this as business as usual. The secret police force that this regime is sending around to communities and murdering Americans needs to be stopped. And they raised the alarm in an incredible way. Now, what we're doing here in a big coalition is like that, but at a national scale, where we're asking people to not just show up on a Saturday, but actually flex the economic power that you have to raise the alarm against a billionaire-fueled regime that is leaving everybody else behind. And look, I will say, as proud as I am to be part of Indivisible building for this, I got to give a shout out to the Mayday Strong Coalition, our union brothers and sisters in the movement who have been leading the charge here. It's up to all of us to do what we can on Friday. Some of us are going to be able to skip school or skip work or refuse to shop. Some of us are going to be joining local protests near us. But it's important that we prepare for what's to come, because I think everybody sees what Donald Trump is doing, promising to engage not just to win the midterm elections, but possibly to sabotage them if they don't go his way. And when that happens, Rachel, it's not going to be enough to show up on a Saturday. Even with millions of people, we're going to have to learn to flex our economic strength in that moment, not just to win the midterms, but to protect the results. Mayday is an opportunity for us to test our strength, learn some things, and grow from now until the midterms so we can actually protect free and fair elections.
Mr. Chairman, we should not be voting today on Kevin Warsh's nomination to lead the Federal Reserve. The Trump economy is in real trouble. Inflation is up, job creation is down, the stink of stagflation is in the air, and President Trump is getting desperate. A vote today by this committee to advance Mr. Warsh will bring the president one step closer to completing his illegal attempt to seize control of the Fed and to artificially juice the economy. Trump has not been subtle about his takeover. He's threatened to fire the Fed chair. He's actually tried to fire a Fed governor. And he started not one, but 2 bogus criminal investigations to push them out. When this committee refused to move on his new nominee under such circumstances, U.S. Attorney Ginny Pirro announced that she would, quote, close the bogus criminal investigation into Fed Chair Powell while the Federal Reserve inspector takes up the inquiry. This was the trigger for getting to today's markup. Now, I understand wanting to believe that there is finally an end to the president's demands to take over the Fed, but no one is fooled. Trump is still going after control of the Fed, and he is keeping the threat of bogus criminal charges alive until he gets what he wants. Don't take it from me, take it from President Trump, who said the investigation is, quote, not dropped.
I'm just so sick of I'm so sick of the president of the United States spending valuable time attacking random celebrities. He danced on Rob Reiner's grave. When Mueller died, he celebrated it. He's honestly morally inferior with the way he celebrates these deaths. It's just awful to see. I'm a young dude who's always looking for moral clarity from our leadership. I want to look up to our leaders and be able to learn lessons from them. What lessons do you think I learned from Donald Trump?
Don't look to D.C. for moral clarity. That's the advice I think anyone should
Obama,
give you.
I could have looked up to Obama and actually learned patience. I could have looked up to Obama and learned gratitude. If I look to Trump, I'm just like, I don't even know what I learned from that. Bully everyone around you, isolate your allies, be an absolute asshole to anyone who interacts with you. What's the lesson that I'm supposed to take from this?
I'm not MAGA, please don't scroll. I've got a moral compass and a soul. Since we live in an age of revisionism, alternate history, let's take a quick jog down memory lane. With the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act and people like Marsha Blackburn just chomping at the bit to put on that pointy white hood again, and MAGA to this day still arguing they're not racist. They're the party of Lincoln. Just curious, how many Confederate flags were flying at Lincoln's campaign rallies? Because y'all been beating that we're not racist drum forever, and yet every single Trump event, like peas and carrots. Racism was just proved yet again to be institutional and systemic throughout our nation. But like I said, let's take a jog down memory lane of historical fact, because one of my personal fondest memories through my education system that gives me immense joy deep down in my heart and soul was the surrendering of the Confederates, where the last flag they had flying was an all-white surrender flag, especially surrendering at the hands of black regiments. Man, that is just poetic. We are in a dangerous time right now because you've got all these Trump loyalists, Supreme Court justices that are loyal to Donald Trump over the Constitution, members of Congress that are loyal to Donald Trump over the Constitution, MAGA influencers, and all of them just twisting the history of our nation. MAGA isn't racist. Y'all make everything racist. As MAGA cries about blue states gerrymandering that are forced to gerrymander to combat Trump's gerrymander. It's okay if a Republican red state does it, but it's not okay if a blue state does it. Like, y'all aren't even embarrassed by your blatant hypocrisy anymore. You just are, like, cool with it. But I want to point out the similarity between the CW map and what Trump is trying to push us towards. And just like Gibbs' rules of NCIS, I don't believe in coincidence. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm trying to get everyone prepared for the reality of where this all inevitably leads. Because this is the goal. This is the long-term plan set forth by the KGB decades upon decades ago. Oh, it's a Russia hoax. Literally the only adversary throughout the world that Donald Trump doesn't penalize, that gives free gifts to, is Russia. It's not a hoax. The enemy's behind the wire. Pete Hegseth's personal attorney has foreign clients, and that attorney has access to classified and sensitive materials in the Pentagon. He just admitted it in his public hearing. The enemy's behind the wire, but we will win again. No pardons this time.
Hey, I'm at work. I'm about to go on with Aaron Burnett. But did you see this? I know. It's exhausting. Why can't he just leave us alone? But there's an interesting layer to this. Whether it's the ballroom, the Arc de Trump, the Kennedy Center, the money, now the passports. Trump is busy building monuments to himself. He's doing that now while he's in office because he does have some awareness that, like, no one's gonna do this for him. No one's gonna want his face and likeness and name on everything once he's gone. Not even a lot of his current fans. So he's got to do it now, which is so interesting. On the one hand, he's not completely delusional about how the history books and how they will write him correctly. But he's doing it anyway because he's so small and petty. It's just interesting and kind of sad.
I hate the president. I hate his cabinet. I hate what RFK is doing. I hate Pete Hegseth. I hate all of these self-dealers who are selling out the American experiment for some new version of aristocracy. But I blame the Republican Congress. I blame the Republicans in Congress because they could stop this chaotic nightmare whenever they wanted to. They have the power. They just choose not to. Congress is the check on the president. Congress is the check on the executive branch. Congress is the check on the Supreme Court. The president can be impeached. Cabinet members can be impeached. Supreme Court justices can be impeached. But these representatives are just sitting around doing nothing. Literally nothing. They're not even making laws because everything is an executive order right now because they just want to hold on to their job. Well, how important is your job? Is it destroying your children's future important? Is it crashing the American economy important? Tripling the debt important? Turning a blind eye to child sex trafficking or blatant presidential corruption important? The entire world order is on the line and you're like, oh, well, Donald Trump has to like me, so I'm reelected in 2026. Reelected to what? What's your job? To ignore potential war crimes in the Caribbean? To sit by while the president declares war on Venezuela and sends our troops into harm's way for no reason? To preside over the end of cancer research or the destruction of the CDC or the death of 600,000 people so far because DOGE just indiscriminately closed USAID? You want to be the ones responsible for the killing of our farming sector due to random tariffs or the death of personal freedom while AI and surveillance goes unregulated? You're just cool with gangs of masked men pulling people out of their cars and places of work and school lines to disappear them into some new billion-dollar unregulated prison complex? Because you could stop all of that whenever you want. Even if you like it, you could regulate it. You could make it more fair. You could align yourself with the law and the Constitution, but you don't because you don't care. You don't care about the economy or the American dollar or healthcare industry. You are happily allowing every social safety net to disappear. No one voted for that. No one voted for poisoned food and water and destroyed environments. No one voted to abandon our allies and start hobnobbing with the world's grossest and most murderous dictators. It is horrifying. And I blame Republicans for all of it. Because we know what motivates Donald Trump. It's power and money. He's told us a million times, and people voted for him anyway. But the Republican Congress are the American people's representatives, and they choose not to represent us every single day. The Republicans are allowing the country to die on their watch. And I blame them for all of this.
We have some huge news right now that not many people are talking about. Well, Donald Trump and everyone's talking about this ballroom again. DOGE, we're learning, accessed highly sensitive Social Security Administration data, your information. But it's not just that. Not only did it access it, it shared it with an election-denying group. New information from Democracy Forward, a case they filed, exposes what DOGE did. And that means your bank account information, health records, and more could be at risk. So DOGE operatives working at the Social Security Administration bypassed key safeguards, and they placed the private information of millions of Americans, including bank account numbers, health records, wage histories, immigration status, and more at risk of exposure, theft, or abuse. And at the same time, a DOGE operative signed a data sharing agreement with an external political group, literally sending your bank information, social security numbers, to a political group. an election denying group. Spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know.
Red alert, First Amendment, Constitution, free speech situation. And it is a real one. It is not another fake free speech issue, the likes of which Trump and MAGA and Republicans have been crying wolf about for a long time. They are the problem. They are the people that want to limit the speech of others. And when that speech doesn't make them feel good, they get really, really angry. Melania is coming for free speech. Donald is coming for free speech. They want Jimmy Kimmel gone for telling jokes. It started with a post to X from Melania Trump, the platform formerly known as Twitter, where people would put up tweets. Now it is X, where people push out excretions, really nasty stuff from Melania, where she says, quote, Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness within America. People like Kimmel shouldn't have, the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. A coward, Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows the network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough, declares the First Lady. It is time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? Let me translate this for you. This didn't make me feel good, so he should be fired for what he said. Did he do anything illegal? Of course not. Did he incite violence? Of course not. Then in comes Donald Trump. And Donald Trump does the exact same thing, posting to his rancid platform Truth Social, quote, wow, Jimmy Kimmel, who is in no way funny, as attested to by his terrible television ratings, made a statement on his show that is really shocking. He showed a fake video of the First Lady, Melania, and our son Barron, like they were actually sitting in his studio listening to him speak, which they weren't and never would be. When you explain comedy, it never goes that well. Trump continues. He then stated,
our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
A day later, a lunatic tried entering the ballroom of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, loaded up with a shotgun, handgun, and many knives. He was there for a very obvious and sinister reason. I appreciate that so many people are incensed by Kimmel's despicable call for violence and normally would not be responsive to anything that he said. But this is something far beyond the pale. Jimmy Kimmel should be immediately fired by Disney and ABC. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. This is the classic authoritarian playbook. We have to be very careful about this. This is genuinely dangerous. Jimmy Kimmel telling jokes that you might like or you might not like isn't dangerous. What is dangerous is when criticism of public figures is redefined as violence so that then you can justify silencing it. So you can justify smashing it with a hammer and demanding that ABC fire him. And the criticism here from Melania isn't just Jimmy Kimmel. She is not substantively criticizing what he said. She's saying he shouldn't even be allowed on the air. And the key line is not, this is offensive, I didn't like this, I don't know that Jimmy cares how this affects my family, which would be all reasonable criticisms to which we would then have a debate. And we would say, well, on the one hand, these are public figures. On the other hand, it's Trump who's president, not Melania. But at the same time, she's part of it. Then what about Barron? He's a kid, but he's an adult. There would be a debate about the appropriateness, but not about the legality. That is a censorship argument that Melania Trump is making.
Mr. Secretary, as you know, I represent San Diego, the largest military community in the country. Right now, as we are speaking, 2,500 San Diego Marines are off the coast of Iran. Many, many other San Diegans in uniform have gotten 48-hour deployment notices. So this war in Iran is not theoretical for me or for my constituents. It's deeply personal. As you also know, on Easter Sunday, President Trump threatened to destroy Iran's bridges and power plants, writing, quote, Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. And 2 days later, President Trump wrote, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." My office's phones have been ringing off the hook. I've heard from so many military families concerned about the president's mental fitness and whether he's fit to serve as our commander-in-chief, given that he's sending their loved ones into harm's way. Our troops, who have shown incredible bravery and tactical proficiency, deserve to know that their leaders are focused and stable. So, Mr. Secretary, you are with the president a lot, and it pains me to even have to ask this about our president, but my constituents' lives are at stake. Do you believe that the president is mentally stable enough to be the commander-in-chief?
Did you ask the same question of Joe Biden for 4 years?
Mr. Secretary, Joe Biden is not the president. Mr. Trump has been president for a year and a half, and I'm asking you
did
right
not.
now.
And I won't even engage with the level of disparagement that you're putting on the commander-in-chief, who indeed is. Meeting
Mr.
him
Secretary,
every single day.
Mr. Secretary, Biden is not the president.
He's the sharpest, most insightful commander-in-chief we've had in generations. And you want to compare, you want to ask that question after you and your fellow Democrats defended Joe Biden, who could barely speak and didn't know what day of the week it was?
He
governed through an auto pen. He had a Secretary of Defense who went AWOL for a week. I can't be gone for 10 days, for 10 minutes.
I will reclaim my time.
Gentlelady's time. She's reclaimed it.
So, as Mr. Jimenez said, we should be taking leaders at their word. So is there a reason that we should not be taking our leader at his word?
Iran should not underestimate the will of President Trump and the United States military to achieve our mission.
Okay, well, I want you to know this is not a partisan thing. In fact, many Democrats have had, many Republicans have had these same questions. Marjorie Taylor Greene said he's out of control and he's gone insane. Candace Owens said the 25th Amendment needs to be invoked. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, who you used to work with, Alex Jones, Stephanie Grisham, the list could go on. So how do I explain to my constituents that while they are in harm's way, their commander-in-chief is posting these unhinged posts?
How did you explain to your constituents what happened on October 7th? Or what happened in Afghanistan? Or what happened with the debacle and the withdrawal in Afghanistan, where the troops were left? How did you explain that with Joe Biden's leadership?
Mr. Secretary,
how did you explain that to the Marines that didn't get medals? That we
Mr.
restored their medals because of that disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan. Did you explain that to your constituents when Joe Biden was asleep at the wheel and he had an AWOL Secretary of Defense?
How about this next post? How can I explain this next post to my constituents? I'm Jewish, so this doesn't really bother me, but my understanding is that this is quite offensive to many Christians. So how do you explain this post?
I'm not here to explain posts. We have an incredible commander-in-chief
who
puts our troops first. I'm here for a budget hearing about our troops.
This is
historic budget that's giving us a chance to defeat
Mr. Secretary,
our adversaries. President Trump is doing that in world-class fashion.
This is about our troops.
Gentlelady has reclaimed her time, Mr. Secretary.
This is about our troops. This is about who is commanding our troops and if our troops can trust that they are being sent into harm's way under good strategy. The mental stability of our commander-in-chief is deeply important to our troops. It's deeply important to this country. It wasn't
important to you during Joe Biden.
I'll remind you that when there were concerns, Democrats came together, and he was not our nominee for president. So I encourage you to have the same courage that Democrats had. Mr. Secretary, you keep saying that he is the best commander-in-chief we've ever had, the best negotiator.
Talk to the troops.
13 American troops have died. More than 380 have been wounded. The Strait of Hormuz, which was wide open, is now closed. Less than 90% of traffic through the strait is still not going despite the ceasefire. The Iranian regime is still in power. It still has nuclear material. The war is costing Americans billions of dollars. And Mr. Secretary, if you think that this is what winning looks like, then maybe we should be questioning your mental stability. Maybe you are the one responsible for this failure, and the president should think about replacing you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
This is an attempt at a bloodless coup. That's what just happened at the Supreme Court.
They gutted the Voting Rights Act, the law that protects your right to vote. Why?
Because Trump and his allies, they can't win, so they cheated.
They silence black and brown voters. They rig our elections.
No tanks, no troops, just laws and court decisions.
And if you don't pay attention, it'll work.
To just hide that intent instead of actually address and prevent and protect Americans' voting rights who are at risk, and especially communities I think, in the south of the United States, but it really affects every American across.
Should New York respond in kind by doing its own redistricting once if the amendment passes?
I have long felt that we all have to play by the same set of rules, and the Republican caucus has made it very clear that they want and are setting rules of partisan gerrymandering. The Democratic caucus has tried to pass nonpartisan gerrymandering for 10 years. Republicans have rejected it. And so we have to all abide by the same rules. And so if Republicans are going to redraw North Carolina, if they're going to redraw Texas, if they're going to redraw and gerrymander every one of their states, then unfortunately, we have to provide balance to that until we get to the day where we can all finally agree to put this behind us and pass nonpartisan gerrymandering federally.
Shit, I got you.
What do you think of the administration?
I think it's dog shit. Right? I think we could pick any random person in this crowd and they could run the country better. That's how dog shit the entire administration is. You got fucking RFK, anti-vaccine ass. You got Scam Bondi up in here. Pete Whiskey Licks, fucking Hexef, the wannabe T-Move God of War. All of these motherfuckers is like, it's something that Putin himself, if he wanted to pick a team to destroy America, this is exactly who he would put in power.
That's hilarious.
Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you.
It's time for the trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Good morning. Morning. Good morning. All right, it's working. The microphone is working. Good morning, everybody. Here we are, 10:38 a.m. Pacific time zone, out here on the outer rim of Boulder Highway in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you very much for being here. We're sitting right now at already 78 degrees. Going to be a high of 85 today. Getting a little toasty. It's getting a little toasty out there today. Anyhow, thanks for being here. How is it in your neck of the woods? You guys doing all right? Doing all right? You guys hanging in there? I know it's tough. even if it's a great, wonderful, beautiful day out, this piece of shit president that we have seems to find a way to ruin it, doesn't he? Anyhow, thanks for being here. I hope you liked the intro. I started a little later today. I started at 10. I scheduled it for 10. And I was still a little bit late. But hope that's all right. I just felt like, I don't know, taking an extra hour to wake up and everything. So anyhow, thanks for being here. And let's see. We got Brooklyn SJU is here. Vizantha Elf is here. Paul Burrows was here or is here. I believe Aaron and Jolie are both here. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that we are at full mod capacity. Full mod capacity, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron and Jolie, otherwise known as the Mod Squad. Best in the business. Thanks for being here. I appreciate Aaron and Jolie helping out. Watching my back from those trolls. Everett Tauscher's here. Hey, Everett, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I do appreciate you coming on in. Hanging out with us this morning. Tomorrow's Mayday. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I should get my CB out. I found my CB. It's in the box over there. I was thinking about bringing it out just as a little prop. You know? Now I forget if it's right there on top. If I could just, if it's an easy grab, I could go grab it. But now I forget which box it's in, and it might be like in the bottom somewhere. Anyhow, I don't know. Yeah, it's Mayday. Tomorrow's Mayday. Are you guys going to participate in the national strike? No school, no shopping, no work, no worky tomorrow. Be interesting to see how that turns out. If there's any kind of impact it might have. DPD 5844 is here. Hey DPD, good to see you. Nola Carnes is here. Hello Nola, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Appreciate you hanging out. And there's Nola Carnes with a $4 super sticker before we even got the goal up. Yippee! Going out to Nola Carnes. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. For that, just for that, you get one of these. Thank you so much, Nola Carnes, for that $4 super sticker. Paul Burrows, I was not born in America. America was born on my land. Yep. Big Hook, the Big Canuck is here. Good to see Big Hook. I did watch your videos. Big Hook sent a couple of videos in my Discord. I watched them. They were good. Very good. I didn't use them in my intro. The one about the lax security, that would have been a good to have in my from the shooter videos that I made, intro I made. The other one was pretty interesting. Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I should put that in because it's very interesting in talking about how dictators operate and authoritarians, and some similarities there. Everett Tauscher, TJ was up late last night. He drank a Coke. I was up late last night just playing video games, basically. After I did my live stream, I was playing my video games, and and they're dumb games. They're just dumb, addictive games. They're not like even like cool games. They're not like PlayStation or anything like that. They're just stupid games on my phone. I'm addicted to them or something. I don't know. I play till almost 3 a.m. on those stupid games. Anna Moore's here. Hello, Anna. Good to see you. Jolie says, I woke up today, I woke up to gas being $4.79 today. Yesterday it was $3.89. Wow. What's that, a 90-cent jump in one day? Wow. It's crazy. Thanks, Trump. Petrazi's here. Hey, Petrazi, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. I do appreciate you. Nola Karn says she speaks the truth. I think that is in reference to the, I guess, the representative in San Diego who was going at toe to toe there with Keg's breath. Doesn't he just fucking irk you, Pete Keg's breath? He irks me. He makes me sick. He's infuriating. The way he has his head firmly implanted up Donald Trump's ass and defends him with, like that. It's just disgusting. And how he tries to compare goes right to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was nothing like Trump in terms of mental decline or anything. Joe Biden had a stutter, okay? And apparently he got COVID like 3 fucking times. And he just Keg's breath just wants to repeat this lie about the debacle of Afghanistan. Motherfucker, he got us out of there. Something that your fucking pussy ass bitch president was too afraid to do. And he did it. And it sucks that we had military personnel get killed. But they weren't left behind. They were there doing a security checkpoint. And then terrorists that Trump claimed he had wiped out, apparently he didn't. They came in with suicide vests. So fuck you, Pete Keg's breath, you motherfucker. But I like her. Was her name Jacobs? I like her. She stood her ground. She didn't let that motherfucker bully her. Or, she just stood her ground, man. Paul Sharkey Mannion is here from across the pond. Good to see you. Anna Moore says, I received my mail-in ballot. Yippee! Yeah, yippee. Get those mail-in ballots, fill them out, and get them back in. Paul Sharkey Mannion says, don't forget to vote. That's right. Don't forget to vote, peeps. DPD says, can the first host spell the word corrosive? Yeah, when Pac-Man was reading that, what Melania supposedly wrote, she didn't write that shit. She didn't write any of that shit. Bill Carnes, Keg's breath is, I think he meant fucking insane. Yeah, he's a total lickspittle. Total lickspittle. Donald Trump lickspittle. I don't even know what a lickspittle is, but it doesn't sound good. Yeah, DPD, kind of in regards to Keg's breath there, are you really putting our troops first when you are starving them and having them live in fucking filth? Yeah, and this is the guy, Keg's breath, who, how many millions of dollars worth of fucking steak and lobster that he bought? And all kinds of other shit that he bought, luxury items, grand pianos and shit out of the Pentagon budget. But we've got soldiers over there eating shit on a shingle. And one blade of lettuce. And toilets backing up and shit all over the place. They need to confront him on that too. You know? Adam West says, hey, Adam, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on in. Adam says, John, your standards are too high. Why do you want presidents not to be pedophiles and elect only them? Guy, you're so frustrating. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, those standards, my standards are way too high. Jolie says, Keg's breath is the Timo god of war. Yeah. Everett Tauscher says, Hedgie needs to resign. All these motherfuckers, when we get power back, they need to be held accountable. Heg's breath, Gnome, all those fuckers, they all need to be held accountable for all the shit they've done. Petrozzi says, all these cowards can do is blame Joe Biden. Yeah, it always comes back to Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden hasn't been president for over a year and a half now, motherfuckers. And then the shit they say about him is mostly not true anyhow. You know? DPD says, good morning and afternoon, TJ. It's currently a breezy. Does that say 84 degrees? No. 54 degrees. Yeah, 54. That little the little icon of me, or the little emoji thing of me, was kind of blocking it. Got a high of 60 today down there, out there in Ohio. Adam Walsh says, tomorrow's my birthday, the most poverty-stricken time ever. Haha, John. Well, Adam, happy birthday. I mean, try to make the best of it. I know you're going through some rough times. But hey, you're living in paradise, right? Hawaii? Paul Burrows is out. We got 31 watching, only 26 thumbs up, so let's stop acting like skeezy, sleazy, disgusting Republicans. Let's hit that thumbs up button. Get to being more like good Democrats and get to a good balanced budget there. Aaron West has a phone interview today. I hope that goes well. I know yesterday was Aaron's last day at her previous employment. So hopefully the interview goes well. Big Hook says, stable camera today. What are you seeing is real. No need to adjust your horizontal or vertical. Glad you got something from my videos. Yeah, those were good videos. Very, very good. Very. Who knows? I might end up using them again. I don't know. But for today's intro, I tried to kind of be on the theme of how horrible Donald Trump is. Adam Westish, a $5 super sticker. Come on, man. I mean, thank you so much, but I mean, come on, man. You don't need to do that. You know? Thank you so much. Yippee. I'll give you the yippee, but I don't want anyone donating money to this channel, if you're having a hard time, if it's, I mean, it's up to you. You know what you can afford. You know what you can do. But thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much. But I hope you're okay. I hope you're not sending me your last $5. Adam says, I can't afford it, but I recognize a fellow YouTube artist who deserves it. Thank you so much for the kind words, but if you can't afford it, please don't send money that you can't afford. Please. I don't want that guilt on my conscience. At least you got eggs from the coop next door. But thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. But again, don't do anything that's like don't send me your last $5 or whatever. But thank you. I want to say I'm grateful and I'm thankful, but I don't want you to you or anyone to send money if it's really if you can't afford it. I Peopled Yesterday is here. Hey, I Peopled Yesterday says the tyrant made 2 calls yesterday. I guess to Bibi and Putin. We are never leaving the war with Iran, but we're pulling out our bases in Germany. We are doomed. Doomed, I tell you, we're all doomed. I don't know if we're doomed. I know it's shitty. It's shitty what's going on. It is. But let's not give up yet. Let's not give up hope yet. You know what I wish? To try to find some sort of silver lining in this dark cloud of Iran, the Iran war, this very stupid, unnecessary, illegal war that's going on. I mean, this probably won't happen because Trump doesn't care and he's an idiot. But if somewhere in the negotiation process, could we at least demand that Iran stop sponsoring terrorist outfits like Hezbollah and Hamas, at least? Now, I know we're mad at Israel, we're mad at Netanyahu. I think Netanyahu is a piece of shit, war criminal. But I also think Hamas and Hezbollah are those things also. And Iran, as far as what I've heard, they back them, those groups. They use them as proxies to attack Israel. Could we at least? Is there anyone on our negotiating team that is even thought of that, or is it just leaving it up to old Trucker John? Do I got to do everything? Is it just me that says, okay, since we're here, we're doing this? Can we at least get an agreement that you will stop sponsoring terrorism against Israel? At least something would come out of it. Now, again, I'm not saying Israel's perfect, and I certainly don't like the way Netanyahu has, basically slaughtered how many civilians in Gaza, Palestinians? But I'm talking about the overall picture. Over the years, Hezbollah and Hamas have been used by Iran to issue attacks against Israel, and that needs to stop. In my humble opinion, DBD says I'll double fuck that motion, TJ. I'm not sure what that means. Sharky Paul Sharkamanian says, who'd have thought Trump can't take a joke? I thought that Liberal Dan made a really good point. I don't know if it was on his show last night, but it was on I saw it certainly on one of his clips, one of his shorts that Liberal Dan's been posting. And I thought he made a really good point about Trump and the Jimmy Kimmel thing, and the whole thing, and about how petty Trump is. Petty and vindictive, and he can't take a joke. He can't take any criticism. I mean, and we've been talking about this for the last couple of days about the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where Obama called him out, and then how he's sitting there seething, and all this kind of stuff. And Liberal Dan said something like, wouldn't it have been great if Trump had asked Kimmel to be the MC or whatever of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, have Kimmel be there to be the comedian who roasted him? Wouldn't that have been a great thing? That would show that he does have a sense of humor and he can take a joke. But of course that would never happen because he can't. Trump is incapable. He's a sociopath. And he's a narcissist and all that kind of shit. And he just is so thin-skinned. And they always want to cut down Biden. Biden could take a joke. Obama could take a joke. But this motherfucker, he is such a petulant little child, Donald Trump is. And when you have that combined with the power of the presidency, it's very dangerous. And if he, you can see that if he were a king, if he were able to just act like a king, he would not hesitate in just executing Jimmy Kimmel and anyone else that made any kind of, it's the whole, the king has no clothes thing, And that's why we had a revolution to get away from that kind of shit. To get away from crazy King George. To get away from kings that you just didn't know where they were going to be. Everything was by their whim, Were they in a good mood that day or a bad mood? That we had a revolution to get away from that kind of shit. Big Hook says Pete, talking about Hegseth, is the ultimate example of that annoyance of bravado and bullshit with no intelligence behind it. Bragging about non-existent leadership is his shtick. Bootlicking is his specialty in Trump. Yeah, he's got that down pat. How many of us in this chat would just love to be in one of those cabinet meetings at the big long table where everyone goes around and they lick his ass individually? How many of us would love to be at that table so that when it's our turn, we can just go, I'm not kissing your ass, motherfucker. Fuck you. I came here to say what I need to say about whatever, this certain issue or whatever. I'm not going to start off by kissing your ass. That's how I would start it. I would say, fuck this shit. I'm not here to kiss your ass, Trump. I'm here to talk about this issue that we need to handle. Villicar says, Lickspittle is a psychopathic person. Okay. I think there's more to it than that, though. Josh Sees is here. Always good to see Josh Sees. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for coming on into the old driver's lounge. DPD says lickspittle is someone who excessively fawns superior authority figures, basically a sycophant. Yeah, that sounds about right. Lickspittle. You're a lickspittle. Adam says, yeah, I have chickens next door with free eggs. Well, at least you got your egg protein going for you. Good protein there. Find you some dandelions. I don't know. Do you have something to fry up? I guess are you frying up the eggs or are you eating them raw? Get you some. If you have any, if you can get a hold of any good extra virgin olive oil, he's probably like, that's a luxury. What are you talking about? But then fry up some of them dandelions in it. That was really good. Put that in make an omelet, a dandelion omelet, maybe. Susie Ann Jones is here. Hey, Susie, good to see you. And I do see we are operating like good Democrats. 28 watching, 32 thumbs ups. Thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up button. And we are at a bit of a surplus, like good Democrats. Anyhow, Susie Ann Jones is here. Says just checking in. Blanket hello to you. All I am laying down and sleepy. I'm just lurking. Well, thanks for checking in. Thanks for letting us saying hi and letting us know you're here. You're here. Yeah, get your rest, Susie. Get your rest. Just scrolling on down here. And West, no worries. I got what I needed, so I figured I can. Well, thank you, Adam. Again, thank you so much. Thank you, Nola. I think Nola was the other one. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Let's see. So we got the Voting Rights Act pretty much gutted, I guess. Welcome to Trump's America. Welcome to Jim Crow 2.0. Jim Crow is back. Just when you thought you'd never see old Jim Crow again, well, he's back. Jim Crow's back. And it's not funny. It's not funny. But like we've said, they cheat. Republicans cheat. They can't really win without cheating. Sharky, Paul Sharky Mannion with a dollar or how do you say, like pound $1.99? 199 pounds. Yippee, going out to Paul Sharky Mannion. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that. Paul Sharky Mannion. That's actually the first one, the first official one there on the goals. So I appreciate you from across the pond, no less. First one on the goal. We're 1/5 of the way on our goals here. Officially, because we've gotten 3, so you guys are awesome. Big Hook says it's like Trump abandoning our allies and feeding Putin intelligence. Isn't that the actions of a treasonous POTUS? I see the rest of the world dumping all their U.S. Treasury bonds soon. There are people that think that we are, I guess, if you want to call it empire. I don't know if we have an empire, but the United States being like the top dog, the number, like we've been the top dog. We've been no doubt about it. We've been like the the richest country, certainly the richest country in the world, the biggest military in the world. And everything sort of revolves around the United States. And there are some people saying that we may be in the start of a decline where we won't be the top dog anymore. And I guess, but these people, I don't know who's going to become number one. Maybe China. I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess it would be China. I don't think it's going to be Russia. I was thinking maybe the EU as a group. Maybe, but I guess who else would there be? It's basically China. If we fall, at least from being number one, I'm not saying we're going to be taken over by China or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen. Barbara Nicholas is here. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. Well, thanks for popping on in. Mad Max, Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini. To Mad Mac. I guess I should put one of my little memes. I don't really have too many saved up. This is a little meme I made. I think I used it in one of my videos, one of my shorts. Dang it. This thing kind of pisses me off. But anyhow, I made a little, I used Meta to make this little cartoon. War, Iran, Epstein files. I was trying to make the point that the war with Iran is to distract us from the Epstein files. Don't forget about the Epstein files. Yeah, like I said, the title of the show is him saying he's not a pedophile. I'm not a pedophile. You're disgusting for even bringing that up. The way Trump gets like that, it just looks like a guilty person, right? Paul Sharky Mannion says he was a petty little git. No one told him, or maybe kid, no one told him how to behave himself as a brat. Yeah, he's a spoiled little brat, and now he became president. And he never really grew up. It's like Arrested Development, for this guy. Big Hook says Trump is inhumanity on steroids. His lack of character was self-evident, but those who also have no character voted for this monster as a form of revenge, biting the hand that feeds them. Farmers. What the fuck? Well, the farmers thought they were going to get a big bailout, I guess. They're waiting for some big bailout money. And then he comes up and says, I think he says something like, yeah, we can send you a check for like a couple grand or something. And the farmers are like, what? That ain't going to do shit. So he's going to lose the farmers. He's losing MAGA little by little pieces here and there. He's losing the independents, whatever independents were going his way. He's losing white college-aged males, which was a big part of his support. So let's just hang on. Let's get to the midterms. I know they're doing everything they can to make it hard for us to vote. We just got to show up, make sure we can vote. Do whatever. Don't take no for an answer. Not voting isn't even, that's not even something that's negotiable. We vote. DPD says the orange pedophile is a dark triad who suffers from narcissism, entitlement, Machiavellianism, with a lack of empathy. We not only have to contend with him, but also the House, Senate, media, and SCOTUS. And like political girl, what's her name? Political gal, whatever. She says she hates them, and I do too. These Republicans, because they don't do anything. Talk about lickspittles and sycophants. The Republicans in Congress have really just rolled over, completely capitulated to Donald Trump. That's why, we got to vote every one of them out. Every Republican out. I need to go over here. We need to vote them all out. Every single and married one of them. I always say that because that was Mad Mac's joke and the married ones too. Vote them out. We got to vote them out, man. Now, the Voting Rights Act thing, they say it's not going to affect 2026 in November. That's what they say, anyhow. Adam Welch just says no dandelions, it's native forest and invasive grasses. Well, I was just trying to think of something you could add to your eggs that you could find easily, readily available. Adam Welch says it's an empire in everything but name. So, do you think that we are on our way out from being the most powerful empire on the planet? Some people are saying that, and if we are, it's all because of one man, and that's Donald Trump. It's amazing to think how this one fucking piece of shit loser could get into power and bring the whole thing down, right? One man. Now, I know it took a lot of people to get him in there. Don't get me wrong. All the voters, all the, in 2016, he had like 63 million votes or whatever it was, 64 million. And in 2024, I think it was like 77 million people voted for him. It's amazing to think that. But then, since he's gotten in power, he's done nothing. Since he took the office of the presidency, he's done nothing good. Nothing good for this country. He's alienated us from the rest of the world. He's severed decades and sometimes centuries long allies, countries that were allies with us, partnerships. All the trust has been lost already, all because of Trump, all because of this one asshole. Josh C says, I guess we can hope to get another couple states in on the interstate popular vote compact and negate the electoral college. That would be nice. That would be nice, Josh. And that's a way of working around. It's a workaround from having to do a constitutional amendment, which is pretty difficult. But if you do that compact you're talking about, DPD says, this is precisely why I say the American anthem no longer works for me. I say this because no matter what people of color achieve, there are people who want to erase us out of existence. Yeah, and sadly, that is true. And I was hoping that that number was becoming smaller and smaller. You know, the bigots, the racists, the really violent racists, who you know, who do want to erase you out of existence. I was hoping that number was shrinking and shrinking, and, you know, getting smaller and smaller. But with really, I saw it with really come out when Obama won his first term in 2008. As a truck driver, I've told this story before, and having my CB in the truck, and when right after Obama won, it brought the racist out on that CB, where it was just constant, nonstop, people getting on there and saying, you know, that N word should be hung, even though its proper use is just hanged. But you know, they were calling for Obama to be assassinated or murdered in all kinds of ways. It was nonstop on the CB, to the point where I had to just shut it off. I couldn't listen to it anymore. And I had never heard that before. I'd been driving for years before that, before Obama became president. And I mean, yeah, there was hicks that would get on there, you know, old rednecks that would get on there and talk some shit, but nothing like once Obama won that in 2008, they came out, at least on the CB, the you know, which is, there is anonymity there because you can't really see who they are. You just hear their voice. So there's, you know, there's that. But I had never heard that much hate and racism on the CB ever. I mean, this was, like I said, it was nonstop for days and weeks and months, and they were just so upset about Obama being president, and they wanted him hanged. And then I was like, wow, I didn't know things were this bad. And then when Trump became president, it was even worse, I think, because now they were emboldened. It wasn't them coming out against Obama. Now when Trump won, they came out because they had their guy in power. It's odd and frustrating how we went from Obama, you know, our first black president, that wasn't creamy white, and then we went to Trump. We went from Obama to Trump, who is orange. I guess we kept the purple, the person of color going because he's orange, but just this disgusting bigot in there. It's like they got what they wanted. All the people that hated Obama, they got what they wanted with Trump. Someone who was sufficiently racist and bigoted. And it's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. And I'm just an old white guy. I mean, I can only imagine how frustrating, in other words, it is for people of color. Adam West says farmers know they were fooled. They may move slowly, but they're not idiots. Well, they're figuring it out now. I think they are. Yeah, they're slow. They're figuring. A lot of people are figuring it out now. A year and a half later, where were they a year and a half ago? If they had voted for and elected Kamala Harris, none of this shit would be happening. None of it. Not any of this shit would be happening. We wouldn't be seeing inflation going up. We wouldn't be seeing unemployment going up. We wouldn't be seeing gas prices going up. We wouldn't be in a war with Iran. None of that shit. And I have a really strong feeling that Kamala Harris would have put her foot down against Netanyahu a year ago, right after she got in office. She would have said, "Okay, we're changing some things up here." And all the people that voted for or didn't vote for Harris because they didn't think she was strong enough on Gaza, what the fuck did you think Trump was going to do? Trump told Netanyahu to do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. He's just waiting to get some land so he can put a Trump Tower up over there. But enough living in the past. I mean, because I can just sit here and go, God, what if? But here we are. We got to deal with what we got. So let's make sure we are voting. Let's make sure we are protesting peacefully. No King's events. Mayday, general strike tomorrow. Make sure you have your voter registration caught up. Make sure you vote. I peopled yesterday. One man, loser, has almost collapsed the global economy. Yeah, the entire he is like a one man global pandemic. Donald Trump is a one man global pandemic. Wally Star 24 says, "Hi, Trucker John. Been a while. Just wanted your opinion on how disgraceful Trump was cutting in front of the Queen and Prince the other day as they were shaking hands. Sickening." You know what? I didn't see that. I didn't watch it. I only saw parts of just clips of his speech, which was weird. That was really about it. I didn't even watch King Charles's speech, which I just heard that King Charles is basically telling us Americans that we need to follow democracy. But so I didn't see it. I didn't watch them shaking hands and all that shit. There's only so much of the shit I can stand to watch. There's only so much because it's just disgusting. Trump is just so disgusting. I just can't watch it. But as far as this protocol about cutting in front of the Queen and Prince, who was the Prince? Are you talking about King Charles? What prince was there? Anyhow, I guess one of their kids or something, or one of his kids. They don't have kids together, but anyhow, I didn't watch it, so I don't know. But in all fairness, if I had watched it, I probably wouldn't care because I don't really care about royal families, and if they get their feelings hurt if we follow the protocol of or something. I really don't give a shit about that. So to tell the truth, to be honest, but I didn't watch it. I didn't see it, so it didn't affect me. Or I have no opinion on that. Big Hook says FDR taxation needed to return. The rich need to pay 90% and corporations 85%, rebuild the middle class and institute universal health care and make government great again by making the rich pay back. I agree with that. I agree. Bad Max says, anyone notice that Orange Pedo is building monuments to himself? He knows that no one else will do anything after he's gone, so he's doing himself. And that was in the intro. Maybe you haven't watched the intro yet, Mad Max, but that exact topic is in the intro. Adam West says capitalism only functions if you drain the money out of the poor every 20 years. Score so the rich maintain power. Is this what they call? I've been hearing the term late stage capitalism, something like that. Big Hook says the rich currently declare no income and borrow against the stock they own because you can't tax debt. The scam is awful. The stock continuously appreciates while the bank loan interest is nothing. And there are lots of great, I think, Democratic representatives and senators that have great plans about that, about wealth taxes. Look at Elizabeth Warren. I don't know if you can see it, but I am wearing my Let's Fucking Go t-shirt. This is my Warren 46 presidential campaign t-shirt. And she has great ideas. Bernie has great ideas. Lots of others have great ideas on how to tax that wealth. Tax their wealth, not their income. David Wise says on the air, racism is still rampant in ham radio. I'm a member of a club known as OMIC. I don't know. That was started after World War II to fight it. The troops came back, and many wanted to get on the air again. Yeah, I haven't been on like the CB or ham radio. Well, I haven't been on ham radio even longer, but I in years and years. So sad to hear that the racism is still rampant. In the radio waves like that, but I guess shouldn't be that surprising, going by what we see with these maggots and Trump administration. Big Hook said, "Hey, there's Mr. Spock. Good to see you." Live long and prosper. Big Hook says, taxes is how society functions. We all pay into the system to get what we need to better our lives. Roads, environmental protection, so we have clean air to breathe. Food inspections, so we don't die. Yeah, it's a necessary part of running a government. DPD says it boggles the mind to see how people still refuse to see that the orange pedophile is a Russian asset. We still can't say the words out loud that our soldiers were down on their knees rolling out the red carpet, I guess, for Putin. Mad Max says he saw it, talking about when Trump cut in front of the Queen or something. He cut in line in front of the Queen to shake hands with people he sees every damn day. Pathetic. Josh says, nice. My dog's girlfriend came by the yard to sniff butts. As they are wont to do. As they are wont to do. Yeah, Nola Karn says it was King Charles, His Royal Hiney. Camilla is not a queen. I know, she is the, what do they call it? The queen, not concubine, but because she's officially not a queen. Consort, queen consort or something like that? Yeah, but all through this whole visit, the people in the media have been calling her the queen. She's not the queen. She's not going to become queen. She's just King Charles's girlfriend, long-term girlfriend, that when he became king, then she's the queen consort, I think is the term. Jolie reminding everyone we have channel memberships starting as low as $1.99 a month. A great way to help support the show. And we got super chats. We've had a few of those today. Thank you very much, you guys, for doing that. And you can also support the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing. Those things don't cost you a dime, and they are a great way of supporting the show. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, because when we do that, what's going to happen? What's it going to be? It's going to be 5K Hennessy Day, 5K Hennessy Day. So let's get to 5K, get those subscriptions in there. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please do so if you haven't already. And if you have, I guess share the show. Tell all your friends and family to come on in here and subscribe. And you can also support the show by buying me a coffee. There's the Buy Me a Coffee link and the PayPal link. There's 2 ways there to help support the show. And people have done that. And I do appreciate everyone who has done that. Very, very much. Very much appreciate. Vasantha Elf is here. Hello, Vasantha. Good to see you. I think you were here earlier, right? I Peopled yesterday says you really should watch a clip of the handshaking. Really made me laugh at the disgust on the king and queen's face. As he cut in front of them, they just stopped in their tracks and walked away. You know what? I really don't give a fuck about the king and the queen, to be honest. I really don't give a fuck about them. I mean, I didn't hear what King Charles said, but apparently he kind of was schooling Trump about not being a dictator and following democracy and all that. That's all fine and dandy. I don't really give a shit about Donald Trump, and I really don't give a shit about King Charles. I'm sorry, I don't. But, you know, I don't care if they were offended, to tell the truth. If you really want to know the truth, I don't give a fuck if they were offended. I know it makes us look bad as a country, I guess, because we don't know how to be decent and have decorum. But I really don't care. I don't care about the fucking king of England. If you want to know the truth, I don't care about kings and queens. I'm all about democracy, man. I'm all about democracy. And I don't like parliament either. I know that's, I guess, democratic. I'm not into the parliament. I'm into the two-party system. I'm into the two-party system, man. I know a lot of you guys don't like our two-party system. I think I'd rather have a two-party system than fucking parliament. Look at the fucking thing in Israel. What kind of fucking system do they got going? Theirs sounds like a really screwy system. What do they call it? The Kismet? No, that's not the Kismet. But whatever the fuck they call their thing, that sounds really jacked up. You know? That seems really jacked up. David Weiss says, I used to chat to Art Bell on 160 and 75 meters a lot. Had some great conversations with Life's Been Good to Me, Joe Walsh. Really? Joe Walsh is a ham operator? I used to listen to Coast to Coast with Art Bell. That's when the show was good, when Art Bell was on there. He pretty much kept it, I think, not too political. And then when he died, or I think he left before he died. He kind of retired, right? And then you had George Norrie, total right-wing nut job, and just kind of ruined the show. Wally Star says, don't forget about Donald Jr. attacking Tim Walz' challenged son. I guess the whole Trump family takes after their father. Yeah, they're all sick. They're all disgusting. Don Jr., Eric, even Ivanka, they're all disgusting. Their family, the Trump family, I don't think it was just Donald or Eric or whatever. I think it was the whole bunch of them. They've been banned in New York from being able to run any charities because they fucking use the charities as their little slush funds. They take the money. These motherfuckers are the greediest motherfuckers. They think that every bit of money around them is meant for them. They are so slimy and disgusting that they can't even be trusted to run a charity. Anna Moore says, hunger and lack of health care affects us all. Americans and Republicans will find out the results of their actions at the polls in November. Queen Consort. Yeah, that's what I finally figured that out. Yeah. But come on, people, let's vote. Let's vote. And let's vote for Democrats. Republicans have had their chance. They had their chance, and we see what they do. We see what the Republicans do. They raise the prices of everything. Rents go up, mortgages go up, gas prices go up, food prices go up, inflation as a whole goes up. They put us into these stupid fucking wars that cost us billions of dollars every fucking day, let alone the loss of life. They strip away constitutional laws, like the Voting Rights Act. Now, there's a lot of people that voted for Trump that are like, I don't see a problem with that. But we've seen what the Republicans do, and it's not good. It's not good for the bottom 99% of us. It's only good for the top 1%. Okay, they've had their chance. Now it's time to vote them out and keep them out. And no more of this swinging back and forth bullshit. No more of this, we get the Congress 1 year, and then 2 years later we lose it, and then 2 years later we get it back, and 2 years later we lose it again. We got to stop that shit. We got to stop that swing back and forth bullshit. We need to keep the House and the Senate, and we need to keep them for decades on end. Stop with this fucking swinging back and forth bullshit. Can we please learn from learn a lesson from these mistakes we make by electing Republicans? Can we please, for the love of God, can we please learn from this? I mean, it's ridiculous. Totally fucking ridiculous. Squirrel Girl with 10 Trucker John memberships. Thank you, Squirrel Girl. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yippee. The Squirrel Girl gifting out 10 memberships. Adam Wesh has got one. Speak of the devil. We got Cryptjoy, whatever. Wolf Jargerbring got one. Lisa Reichstad. David Richards, Steve Ward, lots of people I haven't even heard of before. Jason Lefelt, Jim Adelberg. I remember Jim. I've seen Jim in here before. Cheryl Nelson, Mara the Martian, got one. So thanks for that. Thank you so much, Squirrel Girl. Thank you so much, and hopefully the people will come on in and hang out and check us out and stick around and all that and do the hokey pokey. I do appreciate you. Mad Max says, Camilla is okay, but Charles behaved exactly as the orange pedo has behaved to his wives by having affairs. Diana was beautiful and everyone loved her. Just Charles was a douchebag is all. Yeah, he's a douchebag. And I don't give a fuck about kings and queens and royal families. I'm a Democrat. I'm about democracy. I'm about Constitution. Fuck the royal family. Fuck all that shit. David Weiss says, Randy at AAR sold that Pontiac you liked. I saw one of his thumbnails. I thought it was did he also have the 57 Chevy in that big auction, that big what is it? What do they call it? Jackson, whatever. Auto auction. I didn't watch the video though. So which Pontiac did I like? I don't remember what Pontiac I liked. But I like a lot of his cars that he has on there. But yeah. The latest one I saw that he bought a Rivian, a used Rivian, a 2023 that he really likes, and it looks really nice, actually. Jolie says, I didn't listen to the entire speech, but I do know the king is a huge environmentalist. Yeah, and he has, yeah, that's good for them. So I like him for that. Yeah, me too. The fact that Republicans clapped when they were getting dragged shows how stupid they are. When they were getting dragged. They got dragged? The king and the queen consort got dragged? This is the first I'm hearing of that. Oh, Aaron West has a phone interview in 20 minutes. Fingers crossed. Hope it goes good. Hope it goes good. DPD says, and TJ, King Charles and Queen Camilla are married. Oh, they finally got hitched. They married on April 9th, 2005. Finally. It's only been like 20 years, but okay. In a civil ceremony, and Camilla is indeed the queen. She became queen consort on September 8th, 2022, and crowned on May 6th, 2023. Wow, you really know are you one of those people that watches royal weddings and shit? I could give a fuck about any of that royal bullshit. But yeah, she's the queen consort because that basically my understanding that means that she could never take the throne. If King Charles croaks, she doesn't become the queen because she didn't earn it. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but I don't think she can become queen. I guess they'd have to get William or somebody. I don't know. Don't give a shit about royal families. I'm glad he's into the environment. Good for him. Big Hook says Republicans equal reduce rights, reduce jobs, reduce taxes for the rich. Recession repeat. All we do as Democrats is clean up after those motherfuckers. We spend all our time, when we finally get back in power, we spend most of our time cleaning up their mess. And then once we clean it up, the motherfucking asshole people turn right around and vote these motherfuckers back in, these Republicans back in. And then we have to do it all. And they fucking run up the deficits and they bankrupt us and they do all this shit. And then people are like, oh, I wish I hadn't voted for him. And then they'll go and then they'll vote for Democrats, and Democrats will get in there and cleaning things up and getting things going. We got to stop that. That's what I'm talking about, this swinging back and forth. We got to stop this swinging back and forth. We need democratic rule for like 40 fucking years. So we can get health care. We can get off of fossil fuels. We can get a universal basic income. We can get all that shit. But the swinging back and forth and spending all our time cleaning up the Republicans' mess, it just doesn't get us anywhere. I, for one, am sick of it. We could be so much further advanced as a nation if we would just stop voting for these motherfucking Republicans and getting good Democrats. No more of this conservative Dems, no more of these fucking corporate fucking Democrats either. We need fucking AOCs, Elizabeth Warrens, Bernie Sanders, as much as possible. To the point that where someday, because I know I've said this and other people have said it, AOC might not win in Ohio or Idaho. Maybe you need a much more conservative Democrat or whatever. Maybe that's true today. But hopefully, maybe in 10 or 20 or 30 years from now, that won't be true. And maybe an AOC will be just as common in Idaho as they are in New York. Maybe. That's the hope, anyhow. Matt, Pontiac Firebirds are popular for some people. I like Pontiac Firebirds. I love Pontiac Firebirds, as a matter of fact. I love them. But I'm not going to marry him. David Weiss says, my favorite Brit stuff is the TV comedies. I don't even like those. I used to watch Benny Hill when I was in junior high, and I thought that was funny. But then I grew up. And I know there's all these shows like The Office. There's a whole bunch of shows that were taken from, based on, they were English shows first. I think, and I've watched some of the English versions, and I'm like, I like the American version much better. Can you tell I'm America first kind of guy? I mean, I guess I am an American first kind of guy that likes Firebirds, Pontiac Firebirds. Squirrel Girl says, hate to leave good company, but I have an appointment. Take care. Hugs to all. Well, thank you, Squirrel Girl. Thank you again for those gifted memberships, and get to your appointment. I hope it goes well, whatever that is. DPD says, I'm married to a British man, TJ, and he has the same sentiment as you. Now, my sister-in-law is obsessed, and yes, I watched Prince Harry and Meghan's wedding. Well, that's fine. I guess the pomp and circumstance, and it's maybe I can see. I remember Charles and Diana's wedding was a big thing, and I guess there have been other ones since then, and I guess it's interesting to see it, but I'm just not into it. And I really, and if I missed it, I don't really care. But yeah, you do you. Everyone's entitled to their guilty little pleasures and all that kind of stuff. So, Big Hook says Jon Stewart interviewed Plattner. It's worth watching. Are you talking about Graham Plattner, I believe, the Nazi the Nazi Democrat running against Susan Collins? Plattner is not who the Republicans are painting him as, and Susan Collins is awful. Maine needs him. And the other Democrat, I believe, just stepped down. She suspended her campaign. What's her name? Walsh or something? No, can't remember her name. And I think Plattner was leading in the polls anyhow. But the Democratic Party, I think, was really behind her because she's establishment. She's the establishment. But she's something like 78 years old, and I believe she is undergoing cancer treatments. That might be why she stepped down. I just read the headline. I'm a headline reader, just like Trump. That's me and Trumpy. We just read the headlines. We don't need to read the story. We're very smart. We are stable geniuses. We don't need to read the story. We can just glance at the headlines. It's all we need. It's all we need. Stable genius. Anyhow, I just saw that she stepped down, suspended her campaign. But now Plattner should just have a straight run for it. I hope he beats her too. Like I said, I'd rather have a Nazi. I'd rather have a Democrat Nazi in that seat than Susan Collins, because that goes along with my philosophy that even the worst Democrat, even the worst fucking Democrat, is better than the best Republican. And Susan Collins is not the best Republican. So I'll take a Nazi Democrat over Susan Collins any fucking day of the year. Any fucking day of the year. And I know people are probably gonna say he's not a Nazi, John. He's not a Nazi. I really don't think he's a Nazi either. But he was wearing Nazi tattoos, and he did seem to take his sweet time of removing them. It wasn't until it became, an issue that he finally got rid of them. But like I said, I'll take a Nazi Democrat over a shitty ass Republican or even a great Republican, because there really aren't any great Republicans. But I'll take Plattner over Susan Collins in a heartbeat. If I lived in fucking Maine, or where the fuck do they live? Where are they at? Yeah, Maine. It wouldn't even be an issue with me. But I'm a vote blue no matter who guy anyhow. But I hope Susan Collins finally gets unseated, because she is horrible. Mad Max says, I have an interest in cultures all over the world to see what others live and do with their lives. It's educational as well as interesting. Yeah, I get that. I get that. But I'm just not, into watching their weddings, I guess. And those weddings, those royal weddings take up a lot of bandwidth in our media, if you know what I mean. I think sort of disproportionately so. It's taking up bandwidth that could be used to talk about, I don't know, universal health care, universal basic income, things of this nature, instead of talking about the royals. And I'm just silly that way, I guess. Some would even call me a dreamer. But I'm not the only one. Mr. Spock says British comedy is good. 1 foot in the grave, absolutely fabulous. The Buckets, never heard of them. Never heard of it. I ain't never heard of it, Mr. Spock. I ain't never heard of it. I ain't never heard of it. The Bucket, never heard of it. Or the Buckets. Sorry. My I guess my knowledge of British humor is Benny Hill and maybe Monty Python, and that's about it. And Monty Python is pretty funny, and even Benny Hill in its day was funny, but as far as sitcoms, television sitcoms are concerned, I like the American version better. I like the American version of The Office better. I watched a few episodes of the Ricky Gervais or whoever, the English version, and I think the American version is way better. David Weiss says I would suggest the Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin or Red Dwarf. Are those English television shows? Apparently, don't sound like comedies. Are those dramas? Are those action? Noah Carnes says, I have British in me because of my Welsh blood. That's what Father Pat told me. My name is Fowler, in case you don't know. And that's a very English name, I'm told. Fowler. And the Fowler was the one who raised the chickens at the king's castle. And he was the Fowler. So apparently I come from a line of people who took care of chickens. And I do like to eat chickens. I'll do admit to that. Mad Max, Red Dwarf, Black Adder. I guess we're going to be getting a list of English TV shows. Janet Mills. DPD Janet Mills is her name. Yeah, so I believe did she, maybe I read it wrong. Maybe, did she someone just suspended their campaign. I thought it was Janet Mills. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, guys. I might have been looking at the wrong thing. Mad Max says Red Dwarf, Black Adder, Mr. Bean. I can't stand Mr. Bean. I'm sorry. I can't stand him. He's gross. Hyperdrive, Kunk are all very addictive and funny Brit comedies and that I love watching. I hate Mr. Bean. I can't watch more than 5 minutes of Mr. Bean. He's gross. He's disgusting. I just can't stand him. I know Hal Sparks is kind of like defended that comedy or something. I think it's gross and disgusting. It's not funny. Nola Carter says you can't beat Mr. Bean. I think he's disgusting and not even funny. Mad Max says Rowan Atkinson, who I think is Mr. Bean, is brilliant. I don't think he's brilliant. Now, I understand in real life he is brilliant. He's some sort of fucking aeronautic engineer or scientific engineer or some bullshit thing. So he probably is really brilliant. But when it comes to comedy, he's disgusting. Jolie loves Ab Fab. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what Ab Fab is. Big Hook says the tattoo was a youthful indiscretion. Oh yeah, what was he? 25 in the Marine Corps. The tattoo was a youthful indiscretion. He served and was disillusioned and has evolved since. He has life experience and is way more interesting and intellectual when you sit down and talk with him. I've seen some of his campaign speeches. I've seen some of his campaign ads. I have nothing really wrong, or I don't. There's nothing I disagree with what he says in those. And again, I would take him over any Republican. And I don't think he's the poor little farmer or whatever it is that he tries to present himself to be. I think he's not quite. I think there's some disingenuousness about him. But again, like I said, I would take that over Susan Collins, or any Republican. Mr. Spock, I'm going to make a chocolate cake with mayonnaise for my son's birthday. Why would you ruin a chocolate cake by putting mayonnaise on it? Why would you do that? Petrozzi, I grew up watching The Young Ones. I have no idea what that is. I guess that's another English show I've never heard of. Everett Tauscher, Allegiances, Fox del Taco. Ricky Gervais, yeah, that's what I thought. Faulty Towers, I've heard of Faulty Towers. I don't think I've ever watched it. Is that another one of those like English butler shows with English butlers and maids and shit? Kind of like, what's the other one? New Abbey Town or whatever. I'm sorry. I know I'm totally I'm a total, what do you call it when you don't really give a shit about other countries? I'm just a total America first person. I don't really give a shit about English culture that much. I would like to go and visit England. I would love to visit London. I would love to visit London and Paris and Rome and other places in Europe, like the Swiss Alps and maybe Germany. I would like to go do all that shit. I'd like to see it. It'd be fun. But as far as like, I don't know, sitting and watching their TV shows, I don't give a shit about that. And they're not funny. Mr. Bean is gross. Big Hook says Stewart has highly impressed with him. Best endorsement. I don't know who's Stewart. Jon Stewart. I guess Jon Stewart. So hey, if you got the Jon Stewart thumb of approval or whatever, mark of DBD says Mr. Bean is pretty funny and absolutely fat. I hate Mr. Bean. I hate him. I can't watch him. He's disgusting. He's a disgusting, gross person. Character, I guess. Josh Bees, I washed my drying rack and now I'm not sure where to put it to dry. Yeah, you need another rack for your drying rack, I guess. Hey, to each their own. Okay, you guys like Rowan Atkinson. I like Ricky Gervais. I don't really have too much of a problem with Ricky Gervais. I just think that the American version of The Office is funnier and better than the English version. DBD says she did suspend her campaign. Okay, so she suspended her campaign. So that means she's out. And but I would have even voted for a 78-year-old cancer patient over Susan Collins. Just so you know. Mad Max says Fowler is the guy that always fouls things up. Those are two different fouls, so you're speaking out of turn there. Those are two different. They're not even spelled the same. Mad Mac Atkinson also drives race cars very well. Well, good for him. I'm sure when he's not playing Mr. Bean, I think I've seen him. Didn't he play? Hasn't he shown up sometimes in a kind of a just not Mr. Bean character? I think I've seen him do that, and he was fine. I just don't like the Mr. Bean character. I think it's gross and disgusting and not funny. Very unfunny. Mayo makes it creamier. Okay. Guess that makes sense. Yeah, Dave Weiss says Rowan was an electrical engineer or has an electrical engineer degree, as does the Fresh Prince. Will Smith? Will Smith has an electrical engineering degree? I didn't know that. Petrozzi says mayonnaise makes the cake moist while baking, John. Oh. You can tell I've never baked a cake. Apparently. Mrs. Spock, it makes the cake moist. Okay, all right. Thanks for schooling me on that. I just thought it sounded gross. I wonder if my mom ever put mayonnaise in cakes. So she used to make cakes all the time, and they were very good. Petrozzi, I want to go to Bruges in Belgium. Is that movie? I like that movie with what's his name? Colin Farrell and the other guy, the big guy that I like. Forget his name. Very funny movie. Now that's a funny movie. I don't know if it was made probably by English people or what. You could barely understand a word they were saying with the thick fucking accents, like Scottish accents or whatever the fuck those were. But from what I could glean from it, it was I've seen that movie a couple times. That's a fucking funny movie. What's it called? In Bruges or whatever. That I will highly recommend that. That's a funny movie. And notice there's no Mr. Bean in it, I don't believe. Well, of course, TJ, you are a patriot. That's right. America first, goddammit. Mr. Spock says Mr. Bean is funny the first time. He wasn't funny for me the first time. Big Hick. Oh, Faulty Towers of John Cleese as a building manager. Okay. Yeah, I've never watched it. I think I remember seeing probably thumbnails of it or something. David Weiss says Gnarly Corner says I like Ernest too. Well, is Ernest the one that, the what's his name, Jim? What's his face? And he did the car commercials, and then from there went on to Toy Story. Those are okay. Those are okay. I could live with that. With those Ernest movies, Ernest Goes to whatever, Dave Weiss says mayo works for grilled cheese too. I'm a Duke's mayo nut. I use butter on the outside of the bread to fry in the frying pan. On the inside, I just put cheese. So do you put the mayo like on the inside? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about slathering the outside of the bread with the mayo and cooking it like that? That's what I'm wondering. Jorgen Johansson. Hey, there's Jorgen. Uh-oh. I may have pissed off Jorgen, who's from the Netherlands, I believe. Jorgen Johansson says, I think it's saying means trucker. So you think an American show where they have to add laughs or no one knows it's a joke is better? Yes, I do. I don't believe The Office. I don't believe that the American version of The Office had a laugh track, by the way. I know some shows had laugh tracks, or they were performed in front of live audiences. Like Jerry Seinfeld. I think Jerry Seinfeld was in front of a live audience, but they would have applause lights, I'm sure, to cue the audience to laugh. But it wasn't really like a laugh track, and they may have used a laugh track also to enhance whatever the live audience would laugh at. But shows like the American version of The Office, Parks and Rec, I don't believe has a laugh track. That's I like Parks and Rec. I thought that was really good. I mean, not all of them use laugh tracks, by the way. I know what you're trying. I know what you're trying to do there, but they don't all use laugh tracks, and a lot of them, Archie Bunker, All in the Family, I think was in front of a live audience. When I was a kid, we went to a taping. I don't know if we went to a taping of All in the Family, but we did go to a taping of the very first Jefferson show. That was a live audience. If you watch the very first episode of the Jeffersons, in that laugh somewhere is probably me. But I was like, how old was I? 12 or something. But some of the people laughing in that is me. That's a live audience. So, and I don't know much about English TV or foreign TV, if they use laugh tracks over there. Are you saying only American shows use laugh track? I don't know. Mad Mac says, I've seen both, and I agree the American version of The Office is better. Well, thank you, Mad Mac. Finally, I get someone on my side. Mr. Spock Black Adder, I have no idea what that is. DPD says, TJ, using mayo and cake started back in the Great Depression It also enriches the cake and makes it moist, creates a more velvety texture. All right, thanks for that little I don't know, update there. David White says, yes, Will Smith. I didn't know that Will Smith had a degree in what kind of engineering was that? Whatever. I didn't even know he had a degree. I thought he just showed up one day and said, hey, I want to be an actor. Brendan Gleeson, yes. Petrozzi says, yes, the same. Brendan Gleeson, it was made by an Irishman. I like that movie, Petrozzi. I like that movie. That's a good movie. That's a funny fucking movie. Is it called In Bruges or something like that? It's hard to understand because they got some thick motherfucking accents. But it's funny. It's still funny. Mr. Spock, Carry On movies were funny. I don't think I've heard of those movies. Big Cook says Atkinson has done Black Adder, The Thin Blue Line, and many other skits alongside Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry. Okay. Mad Max says John Cleese runs a small hotel in Fawlty Towers. Of course, John Cleese from Monty Python fame. Mr. Spock, Fawlty Towers, Basil, would you like a rat? See, I don't think I would like Fawlty Towers. Josh C says, I'm going to side with TJ on Mr. Bean not being very good, but I don't feel as passionately about it. Yeah, I guess there's something about the guy when he does the Mr. Bean routine. There must have been something that just grossed me out. So now whenever you talk about Mr. Bean, I get grossed out because I just remember some gross shit that he did, and I, couldn't watch it. David Weiss, the American version of Shameless is better. Now, I really love Shameless. That was a great show. I really just loved it for all the sex scenes with what's her face, because she's hot. But more than that, I mean, it was a good story, good cast, good acting. It was a good show. I didn't know that it was taken from an English show, I think, until after I had started watching it. And then I'm trying to remember, I think I might have went back or somehow watched the English version for an episode, I think. I can't remember it. I think I did. But I came to the conclusion that, yeah, I like the American version better. DPD says, TJ, I would encourage you to visit Abbey Roads and St. John's Woods in West London. If you ever visit London, there's nothing like it. Well, I would love to visit, where the Beatles walked across the street. I guess that's Abbey Road, isn't it? I would love to see that. Big Hook says mayo is made with eggs and probably as egg substitute for making the cake, I guess, while adding oil fat for increased moisture and taste. Okay, I think I got enough info on the mayo and the cakes. Mr. Spock says there's a Jefferson's Moving On Up tour coming to Vegas. Is it? Is it really? Jorgen Johansson says, Tucker, I think you mean trucker, why do you think I'm from Netherlands? I don't know. I thought you told me you were, because I haven't seen you in a long time, and you haven't been around, and I forget where you're from. I don't know. I think I always say Netherlands, but then you'll correct me and say, no, I'm from Denmark or something. Petrozzi says the S is silent. What did I read that had the silent S? I don't even know. I'll have to scroll back. Shameless, the S in Shameless? No. I don't even know. But Mad Max says, I don't care about Will Smith after he behaved like a little shit by slapping Chris Rock. Yeah, I lost a lot of respect for him. I didn't like that either. I thought it was pretty classless. But what I saw was a guy really who I think was going through some serious shit. Maybe him and his wife were going through some shit, and so my thought was, I hope, Will Smith, you get the help you need in therapy. And he hasn't really done much since then, has he? Yeah. But yeah, I lost a lot of respect for him on that day. But my thought was, man, I hope you get the help you need, because you obviously need some help. Maybe he has. I don't know. DPD, using mayo on the outside of a grilled cheese sandwich adds the golden brown crust and also makes it crunchy. Well, butter does that too. Or as I use country crock, I think is what I use, which is probably margarine or something. Mr. Spock says, come on, saying, would you like a rat to a food inspector, especially when the rat is sticking out of the sugar bowl? Okay, fine. I don't know. Mad Max. Shameless has lots of sex scenes, eh? Might have to check that out. You haven't watched it? What's her name? Emmy? Emmy? The main star? She's fucking hot, man. Sweden is Jorgen, Mad Max. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jorgen. I'm sorry. I misidentified your country of origin. Apologize. Anamore says, Will Smith is a Democratic senator in Maryland who also chairs the Judiciary Proceedings Committee. Well, okay, apparently there's lots of I imagine there's lots of Will Smiths. Oh, Petrozzi, the S in Bruges is silent. Oh, okay. Bruges. In Bruges. Yeah, that makes sense. Great movie, guys. If you want to see a foreign-made movie with foreign people talking funny, who aren't Americans, who aren't America first, I highly suggest In Bruges. I think it's called In Bruges, but it's spelled with an S at the end, like Petrozzi says there. I highly recommend it. I give it 5 stars out of 5 stars. All right? There. Does that make up for all of my America First talk today? Big Hook says, Will Smith's situation is far more complicated. His wife cucked him, and they have an open marriage arrangement. She really fucked him up. I think so, too. I think there was a lot going on there. DBT, yippee, thank you so much. $10 super chat. I know more Mayo. I know. No more Mayo talk. No, I mean, whatever. I did appreciate that part of it, though, because I had asked the question. But thank you so much there, DPD. Yippee going out to you. I guess, yeah, the goal ended, but hey, man, I think we made the goal. We made the goal. You guys did more. I think we had 5 or 6. So we officially, or maybe unofficially, or as far as I'm concerned, we made the goal today. So thank you so much, DPD, and everyone else. AM says, that sounds interesting about Jefferson's on tour. Hey, Mr. Spock, you're a fowler. Mr. Spock, you're a fowler, right? We're talking about my name and where it came from. And actually, Mr. Spock is more of a fowler than I am. I might have to start calling Mr. Spock Fowler from now on. DPD says Will Smith is gross, and so is his wife. I don't know much about him. I don't really get involved with other people's arrangements, and that's up to them. But when you start slapping people on one of the most watched TV shows or whatever, like the Academy Awards, and that's kind of ridiculous. David Weiss says leaks are awesome. Hey, Tim Farrell. The Farrell one is here. Good to see you. Trucker Spock. Yeah, Mr. Spock is a Fowler. Big Hook, it says, is that the movie with Gleason and Colin Farrell? Yeah, yes, Big Hook. Yes. Someone even put the names in for me because I couldn't remember Gleason's first name. Someone put it in here. I'm scrolling back now because I've already forgotten his name. I shouldn't forget his name. He's a very good actor. He's been in a lot of movies. I think he's a great actor. Brendan. Why can I not remember Brendan? Yeah, Brendan Gleeson. And then Colin Farrell, who I like also. Very good actors. In Bruges. 5 out of 5 stars from Trucker John. And it's not American. In case you guys were wondering, like, if I like anything that's not American. Well, I like In Bruges. And I like James Bond movies. Those are English made. Right? Those are English made. So I like Bond movies. What other English things or not American things do I like? That's it. In Bruges and Bond movies. I think that's it. That's probably it. But that's enough. That's all I need. DPD says, remember, folks, no work, no school, no purchasing anything May 1st, 2026, which is tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Why is this not doing that? It's tomorrow is the national strike. Yeah, don't forget it. Starting at midnight tonight. Tim Farrell says he was great in a series called COVID, called Mr. Mercedes, 3 seasons. Oh, it was over COVID. It was called Mr. Mercedes. Are we talking about the Mr. Bean guy again? Oh, no. That was Brendan Gleeson. I saw that. Oh, yeah. I saw that. I remember watching that. Come to mention it. It was a very good show. Where he was like a detective or whatever you call him. An investigator. Like a private eye. He was a private eye, I think. Yeah, that was a good one. It was a good show. Mad Mac. Irish actor Brendan Gleeson. See, I think Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, I think, are Irish. And I think I like the Irish a little bit better than I like the English. Maybe that's my prejudice. Maybe that's why I like In Bruges. Anyhow, I'm just digging myself into a bigger hole, I guess. DPD, what about scones? Do you like them? I'm not even sure if I know what a scone is. So, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that. Big Hook says Brendan Gleeson. He also starred in that television series where he's an alcoholic. Yeah, that was the Mr. Mercedes, I think. In a battle of wits with psychopath who killed pedestrians. Yeah, with a Mercedes. That was Mr. Mercedes. Jürgen Hansen, isn't celebrating May 1st too leftish for you? No. Why would it be too leftish for me? I'm a fucking lefty. Just because I'm America First doesn't mean I can't be a lefty. I'm a fucking lefty. I think just by virtue of the fact that I'm a Democrat makes me a lefty. I think all Democrats should be lefties to some degree. I'm a progressive. I'm a liberal. All that shit. All that shit. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-universal health care. I'm pro-UBI. All that shit. Just because I, say I'm America First doesn't mean I'm not a lefty. DPD says Mr. Mercedes was fantastic. I wish they would bring it back. Mad Mac, they were both good mates too. Friends, TJ. You're talking about Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson? Remember him in the Gangs of New York? Oof, man. Did not go well for him in that movie. Mr. Spock, it's scones, not scones. Okay, whatever. DPD says TJ, a scone is like a biscuit that's slightly sweet. I'm sure I've had a scone, but apparently, obviously, so few at a time that I'm not even sure about it. So, Petrozzi says Farrell and Gleason were also in the Banshees of Irish, in the same director. You know what? I remember I never did see that movie. I remember seeing like the reviews, and highlights or whatever from the movie reviewers of it. It looked really good, and I never saw it, and I feel bad that I didn't see it during its initial release. Now, hopefully, maybe I'll be able to find it and watch it. But I kind of feel bad I didn't watch it in its initial release because if you like these movies, you like these actors, you want to show support by actually seeing it when it first comes out, and I didn't do it. But I remember seeing the reviews and the like the previews of it or whatever, or the trailers of it. It looked really good. It did look really good. DPD says Gangs of London is pretty good. What about the Gangs of New York? You didn't see that movie? That's the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Gangs of New York. That's what's his face. The one who makes all the gangster movies. It had Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio in it. That was good. The Gangs of London, I don't think I saw that one. Yeah, Mad Max says Brendan was also in the Harry Potter franchise, yes, and Braveheart too. I remember him. Of course, I remember him in Harry Potter. He had a really big role in that, and he was in several of the sequels. It's funny. I can vaguely remember him in Braveheart, but now I think I remember. Now that you mention it, I think I can remember it. Tim Farrell says Gleason played Trump in the series The Comey Way. He nailed it. I never heard of The Comey Way. Never ever heard of it. DPD says Gangs of New York was pretty good. Gangs of London. I'm trying to place that. I don't think I ever saw that. I'm trying to remember if I ever saw any trailers on it or whatever. I'm just looking to see how the battery's doing because we've got over almost 2.5 hours. DPD says Gangs of London is a television show. It comes on AMC Plus. I've seen Pinky Blinders. Pinky Blinders. That's a good show. I haven't seen the latest one that came out. I guess Is that just like a one-off movie that just came out? I haven't seen that. It's on Netflix now. I haven't seen that one. But I've seen the rest of the series. Peaky Blinders. Big Hook says, what makes America great is it used to welcome everyone and utilize the best of all cultures with their brightest and best, furthering our development in science and technology. Trump ended that. Yeah, now we've got a real brain drain going. We've got, instead of the best and brightest, scientists and engineers and doctors coming here, they're going elsewhere now. And yeah, this goes back to the thing about Trump, how this one motherfucker is running this country, the greatest country in the world, running us into the ground. One man doing that. Of course, with the help of with a lot of all of his sycophants and his lickspitters. But it's a sad state of affairs. It really is. Yeah, Jorgen Johansson, Gangs of London is a TV series. That's what DPD was saying. Tim Farrell says the Brits are so much better at making movies and series shows. Really? Really? You really think so? Better than The Sopranos? Better than Breaking Bad? Come on, man. Give me a break. They're not better. I'll take American TV shows over English TV shows any fucking day of the week. John Glenn said, hi, I was outside doing yard work. Yeah, some of the greatest shows. The Sopranos and Breaking Bad, probably the two best shows in TV history. What else? I know there's a whole slew of them. The Shield. I think The Shield was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, there's a whole slew of shows. I would put them over English shows any fucking day of the week. Jolie says same except shameless. Same what? You think that English shows are better? Ugh. Mad Max says, I subscribed to BritBox as soon as they made it available. I watched lots. Little Carnes. I always liked The Man from U.N.C.L.E. We're going way back. I liked The Man from U.N.C.L.E. too, when I was 6. Yeah. The Rat Patrol. I love the fucking Rat Patrol. That was an awesome show when I was 7 or 8. It was like 7. Yeah, going back to the 60s. I love the original Star Trek. These are the shows I watched when I was a kid. The Monkees. The Rat Patrol. Yeah, was it Laredo or something like that? All these those westerns I liked. What was the one? High Chaparral. I like those better than Bonanza. Actually, I like High Chaparral better than Bonanza. Jorgen Johansson, best American TV show ever is Roots. Roots was a miniseries, but yeah, it was very good. I remember watching that when I was, I guess, in high school, or was I forget if I was junior high or high school. I think I was high school. Very amazing miniseries for sure. DPD, has anyone seen Bridgerton? Now that's an excellent show. I never saw Bridgerton. I think I've heard of it. Josh C says The Shield was great. Even my wife got into it, and that's not her style of show. The Shield is one of the best. Like I say, one of the best all-time TV shows ever. I put The Shield right up there with Breaking Bad and The Sopranos. Mad Mac. I liked Laugh In. That was one of the I remember watching Laugh In the '60s. The Monkees, Green Hornet. Yeah, yeah. Time Tunnel. Yeah, I remember that. Time Tunnel. Lost in Space. Yeah, yeah. Noel Carnes, The Saint. Yeah, I remember The Saint. The Saint. Yeah, Lost in Space. Justified. Tim Farrell. Yeah, that's one of the ones. That's one of the ones that for me kind of slipped through the cracks. I know it had Walton Goggins. Walton Goggins is one of my favorite actors. I think Walton Goggins is great. He was great in The Shield. I thought he's been great in the Tarantino movies. He's now in what's the latest one based off of that game? Right? He's really great where he has no nose. What is that? He's really good in that. I think Walton Goggins is great. He was in Royal Gemstones. I love me some Walton Goggins. And I know I think Walton Goggins, he was sort of the bad guy in that, I guess. And then the main guy was what's his face from Deadwood. What was that guy's name? He's Oliphant. Was it Timothy Oliphant? That looked like a really good show, and for some reason, I never watched it. I think I may have seen bits and pieces or clips of it, but for some reason, Justified is one of those shows that just slipped through the cracks, and I never saw it. I never really watched it, even though I really like Walton Goggins, and I like Timothy Oliphant. Isn't that his name, right? I think he's really good. But for some reason I missed it, so I'll have to go back and try to get and watch that. It's probably on my Netflix list. I have shows on my Netflix list that are 15 years old and I haven't gotten to. 12, 15 years old. Yeah, Big Hook says our loss is Europe's gain. Even China is trying to entice our engineers. It's sad how far America has fallen embracing Trump. Worldwide reputation is ruined, and it's going to take several decades to fix. Yeah, it's going to take a while. But I'm not going to give up on us, Big Hook. I'm not going to give up. Julie says, no, I like U.S. shows better, except for Shameless. I like the... Oh, okay. Thank you. I was worried for a minute there, Julie. Like I said, I think I may have watched one UK version of Shameless, and I probably need to watch more to make a better judgment of it. But I like Shameless, the U.S. version. Like I said, mainly for the sex. I'm just going to be honest with you. But beyond that, it was good cast. I thought it was really interesting seeing like the kids grow up, over the years, how they grew up and everything. I think William H. Macy is pretty good. Is that his name? Right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think the U.S. version of Shameless is really good. Whether it's better than the UK one, I guess I would have to watch more of those to make a good decision. I guess I don't know. Lillicar says Lost in Space and had some really funny parts in it. Fallout, yeah, Petrozzi, that's the one. I like Fallout. I'm not quite there putting Fallout on my best of all time TV shows, but I do like that show. It's a good show, and I like Walton Goggins. Walton Goggins. It's not Walter. It's Walton. I'm pretty sure. Was in The White Lotus on HBO. Unless you're talking about a Walter Goggins, who might be a completely different actor. But Walton Goggins is the guy from The Shield and Justified, Fallout, Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, just to name a few. Mad Max says Dr. Smith was always a conniving, whiny jerk. Now, did you guys see the new updated version that they made a couple years ago? I liked that. And it had, what's her name? They had a chick playing Dr. Smith. And she's really a pretty famous actress, and I can't remember her name right now. For some reason. It's something like Tuesday, Wednesday or something. I can't remember her fucking name. But she was really good. She played Dr. Smith. But they had an updated version of, and I thought that was really good. I think it got canceled though, and they didn't really finish the show, which was kind of a shame. Tim Farrell says that Justified was a little better than The Shield, in my opinion. Both are great. Yeah, I need to go back and watch Justified because I like I say, just it looked good, and I like Walton Goggins, and I like Timothy Oliphant, so I should go back and watch that. The Prisoner. You guys are talking about The Prisoner. What is The Prisoner? I don't know if I've seen The Prisoner. I remember Prison Break. I like that show, even though it's kind of. I'm not putting that on the best all-time TV shows, but it was kind of a fun ride. The Prison Break, where the guy had the body full of tattoos, and it was basically a blueprint of the prison, and he was there to break out his brother and all that kind of shit. It's kind of a goofy show, but it was a fun ride, Petrozzi, I like Walton's character in The Hateful Eight. Yeah, he was good in that. He's good in everything he does, I think. DBD says that's right. His name is Walton. TJ, did you ever finish watching Grace and Frankie? No, but I did start liking it. I mean, I think I watched. How many seasons are there? I think I watched like 2 seasons and maybe part of the 3rd season, and then I've just sort of stopped watching Netflix for a while. I don't know why. I started liking it a little bit more, but I'm still not like it's great, it's awesome, it's the best show in the world. But at least it's watchable and it's entertaining and funny, I guess. And it's kind of like once you get into a show, you kind of want to finish it, But it's okay. Mad Max says, I looked up Shameless, saw it was William H. Macy. I met him once. He was sitting in the bed of my truck waiting for me to return from lunch. He was in a stage show in town and asked me to make some key. Well, there you go. You've got a William H. Macy story. That's awesome. Mad Max Prisoner had Patrick McGoohan. Is that an old show then? Because Patrick McGoohan, I think, is dead. Yeah, wasn't he from that old show with the hot chick and they were like spies and shit? And he had a cane. Did he have a cane and shit? Anyhow. Little Car says Little Big Man was great. That was a really good movie. The Dustin Hoffman movie? That's actually I think a great movie, Little Big Man. If we're talking about the same one with Dustin Hoffman and how he got caught up in the Battle of Little Bighorn and all that shit, right? Mad Max says Prisoner was on YouTube. It may still be. Big coming close to 3 hours. Actually, my phone is doing pretty good. It's at 40%. 40-something percent. But I should get going though. Anyhow, yeah. So Mad Max's Prisoner was a '60s show. Yeah, Oh wait, I'm thinking of a different guy. I'm thinking of a different show. Oh yeah, Patrick McGoohan. I remember that guy. Yeah, he was pretty big in the '60s. I don't remember that show though. DBD says The Prisoner is a 1960s British TV series starring Patrick McGoohan. He played a secret agent as number 6 who was abducted and imprisoned. And Jorgen says, yeah, Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, Little Big Man. That's a great movie. That is from the 70s, right? That's early 70s, mid 70s, I think. It's the tale of a man who wound up at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Josh sees his phone is at 375 milliliters. Tim Farrell says Sopranos, Breaking Bad are great, John. No argument. I do believe if the Brits were going to make those, they would have been even better. Are you English, by the way? I'm just wondering. Are you English, Tim? Miller Carr says, TJ3, are you talking about the movie with something about Mrs.? I don't think so. Oh yeah, Mrs. Peel. Yes. But there was a TV show. She just passed away recently, the lady who played that. Yeah, Mrs. Peel. Remember, she was really hot? Hot English chick? And then the other guy, that wasn't Patrick McGowan, but I think his name may have been Patrick. And he had a cane, and they were like, she did most of the physical shit, because I guess he's an old guy with a cane, and she was like a hot young chick, and she could like karate kick people. Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking of, but I can't remember the name of that show. Wasn't it like The Avengers or something like that? I think it was something like that. Even though that title has been used in other stuff, it was something like The Avengers. Big Hook says Outbreak is my favorite Dustin Hoffman film. You know, and that's funny. That's another movie that slipped through the cracks for me. I know it's Outbreak. It's about, I think it's about airborne pathogens. It was pre-COVID. But I think when we went through COVID, people started talking about the movie Outbreak a lot. It was one of those movies that it just slipped through the cracks for me, and I never did see it. But I heard it was really good. Tim Farrell says Little Big Man was underrated. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think my memory of it is that it did pretty well, I think. It seemed, but I could be wrong. I've looked back at other things that I thought did really well as far as like box office and stuff like that. And then I just through reading about it, it's like it didn't do so well as I thought or whatever. So maybe just because I saw the movie and I really liked it, maybe I thought that it was a big hit, and maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Tim Farrell, I think the Brits produce better music too. Well, I'll give you the Beatles. Beatles probably one of my favorite all-time bands, rock bands. I still think they're the best rock band in history. I'll give you that much. Definitely have put out a lot of great rock music. You know, but I probably like more American bands than I do English bands. Van Halen, Springsteen, you know, things of this nature. Foghat was one of my favorites. Aerosmith, Boston. Those are my favorite bands, but the Beatles are number one as far as I'm concerned. I think the Stones are really great. I know a lot of you guys really love the Kinks. I think they're okay. I don't know. For some reason, I always say that they rip off the Beatles, and you guys say that I'm an asshole for saying that. But you know, hey, it's all personal taste. It's all personal. There's no right or wrong answer on that. Mad Max says, yeah, Emma Pill was Diana Rigg on the Avengers. Yeah, there you go. Or the other way around. Yeah, the Avengers. That's I remember that show. Wasn't she hot? Don't tell me I'm the only one that thought she was hot. Jürgen Johansson says, who is 125 years and tell his life story, Dustin and Faye Dunaway from 1970 or 71. Yeah, I guess it was around then, early 70s. It was a great movie. I remember that. I haven't seen that movie in decades, but I just remember it being a great movie, and then I really liked it. Big Hook. She definitely rocked the leather cat suit. DVD, never seen Little Big Man. If you have a chance to see it, if it shows up, it might be on YouTube. It might be on some streaming service. If you ever have a chance to see Little Big Man, I highly recommend it. And it's American made. I don't know. I guess it is. Tim Farrell Hoffman in Papillon. Yeah, Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman in Papillon. That's a great movie. I again haven't seen some of these movies in decades. Sometimes you have a memory of a movie being great, and then you watch it decades later, and you're like, what did I see in that? So I'm hoping Papillon would stand the test of time. But I remember at the time when I saw it, I thought it was great. Led Zeppelin, yeah, Zeppelin, English band. Okay, yeah. Zeppelin, Stones, Beatles, The Who, all great, iconic rock bands from England. Absolutely. And those are probably my 4 favorite English bands, and I put the Beatles above everyone. American, English, Swedish, whatever. I put the Beatles on top of everything. But even over Van Halen. And Van Halen is my favorite rock group, but the Beatles just have their own fucking category. They're the GOATs. The Beatles are the GOATs as far as I'm concerned. Big Hook. Marathon Man was Hoffman's breakout role. Was it? I thought The Graduate was his breakout role. I thought The Graduate was really his breakout role. Maybe I'm wrong. But it seems like from The Graduate, and maybe I've got the order mixed up, but it seemed like from there that's what led to maybe Little Big Horn or Little Big Man, and then led to Marathon Man, and then led to the all these other movies. But I thought I think I would probably say The Graduate was his breakout role, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I could be right. Pink Floyd, #1. Pink Floyd, awesome band. Especially, I love Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here. Of course, The Wall. Those are huge albums, and they're iconic. Pink Floyd. I don't have them #1, but yeah, Pink Floyd, awesome band, and apparently very English. I don't know. DPD, The Stones, The Who, Led Zeppelin, Queen. Oh, I love Queen. I love Queen, guys. Queen, one of my favorite all-time bands. The scale might be tipping towards England for music. Earlier I said that I think there's more American bands that I like, but the scales might be tipping. Queen, absolutely one of my favorite all-time bands. I love Queen. Love Queen. But I'm not gonna marry it. I'd be YouTubing. Hello, everyone. Elton John, pretty good. Yeah, Elton John is really good. I like the early Elton John. I don't like the later stuff when he got really super poppy. I don't like it when Bernie Taupin and him parted ways. I know they kind of got back together later on, but it was never the same. I like the early Elton John, Bernie Taupin team. The 70s. The 70s Elton John is the best. I don't really like the 80s and most of the stuff after that, but the 70s Elton John, yeah, I'm there. Absolutely. And English. Mad Max says Papillon the Butterfly was a great movie. Yes, and I agree. And hopefully, like I said, I haven't seen it in decades. If I were to go and see it again, hopefully it's still a great movie. Mad Matt, Queen, yes, Queen, absolutely. I love Queen. I would put Queen over the Kinks any fucking day of the week. Tim Farrell, if you're a prog fan, Brits dominate. They dominate. I'm a everything fan, I think. I like a little bit of everything. Mad Mac, I was too young to watch The Graduate. Well, you're not too young now. You can watch it now, probably. Tim Farrell, most of the great guitarists are British. Eddie Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix would like to have a word with you about that. But yeah, of course, Jimmy Page, quite possibly the greatest. I still like Eddie Van Halen's style better and sound better. I think I would put Jimmy Page over Jimi Hendrix. This is all personal preference. I think I would put Eddie Van Halen first, Jimmy Page second, Jimi Hendrix third. You know, maybe. Mr. Spock, Freddie rocks. Yeah, I love Queen, man. Queen's a great band. I be YouTubing. Geez, remember when The Graduate was controversial? Yeah, I guess it was controversial because Mrs. Robinson seduced, Dustin Hoffman's character or whatever. And she's the older woman, and he was young, and he was the mother. She was the mother of. Wasn't she the mother? That's right. Was she the mother of? But of the girl that he liked, because she was going to marry. Yeah, I don't want to give it away. No spoilers. No spoilers. DPD says Dustin Hoffman's first role was in a movie called The Tiger Makes Out in 1967. Then came The Graduate. Yeah, but The Graduate was a big hit. Tiger Makes Out, I've never even heard of that. So I think as far as a breakout movie is concerned, I think The Graduate that's the one that put him on the map. That's the one where people came away with that, knowing who he was, knowing who Dustin Hoffman was. So I would say The Graduate was his breakout movie. Mr. Spock says, got the album Innuendo by Queen, waited for it to come out, then cried the first time I heard it. Tim Farrell says, Jeff Beck, number one for me, David Gilmour, number two. Great guitarist, no doubt. No, they deserve to be in anyone's top 10 list. I had a Jeff Beck cassette back in the day. And then Dave Gilmour, just all of his Pink Floyd stuff. Is what I had. I didn't have any like Dave Gilmour's solo albums or whatever. DBD says, I know they aren't British, but we can't forget U2, the best band. Hey man, U2, I don't even know where to put them on my top 10. I love me some U2. Yes, they're Irish. And they're Irish. And like I said earlier, I think I like the Irish better than I like the English. I've seen U2. I've seen them twice. No. I've seen them 3 times in concert. And I'm so pissed that I didn't scrape up the money to go see them when they were at the Sphere here in Vegas. I wish I would have done it now. I knew I was going to regret it if I didn't do it, and I didn't do it. And I regret it. Oh yeah, so Mr. Fox, a few months later he passed away. Yeah, Freddie Mercury passing away after Innuendo, I guess. Miller Carnes, and here's to Mrs. Robinson. Yeah, the Simon and Garfunkel song. Miller Carnes, Jesus has a place for. Is that chores to pray? Hey. Anyhow. All right, guys. Yeah, I guess we should head. I should head out. Maybe if you guys want to raid, I guess the suffragettes are on. Are they on now? Oh, also, man, we've got Boston Bryan and the 21st Century Suffragettes are on. So I'll leave it up to you guys who you want to go to. I think Boston Bryan is finishing up. I think he's finishing up his show, and I think Suffragettes just started. Let's see. The 21st Century Suffragettes just started 6 minutes ago. So if you guys want to go over there, raid them both. And Riverboat Jack is already on? Man, she usually comes on later in the day, at nighttime. Okay, so yeah, Riverboat Jack. There's lots of good choices. I would recommend 21st Century Suffragettes. But yeah, like you say, go over to all those shows. Give them a thumbs up at least. Spend a few minutes on those shows. Support the other shows. Support Riverboat Jack. Support 21st Century Suffragettes. Support Boston Bryan. Support the Political Punk. Support House Sparks. Support Liberal Dan. Best show on the internet. Support Trucker John, if you would. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for your support. You guys have supported me very, very well throughout the history of the show and today with our fan funding today. Real quick, Nola Carnes, thank you very much. Adam West is in there with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Adam. Yippee. Sharky with pounds, $1.99, or not $1.99, but £1.99 from Paul Sharkey Manion. Thank you, Paul Sharkey. Squirrel Girl with 10 memberships, gifting 10 memberships. Yippee. Thank you so much. And DPD with a $10 super chat. Thank you, DPD. Yippee. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, sharing the show, getting us out in that algorithm. I do appreciate when you guys watch the videos. If you can, give those a like, make a comment. Eight words or more, I guess, is supposed to be good for the algorithm. Because you know why? You know why I emphasize this? Because we want to get to 5,000 subscribers so I can open that bottle of Hennessy and we can have 5K Hennessy Day. 5K Hennessy Day. All right, guys. But thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, let's get to 5K because I'm gonna take a little probably a little sip of that Hennessy myself. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, let's get that Hennessy cracked open. Let's get to 5K. Hey, tomorrow, Mayday, general strike. Do it, you losers. I don't want anyone going to work or to school or shopping. None of that. None of that. In fact, I think Trucker John said he might go live tomorrow too. So, all right, let's do this. Yeah, let's do it, guys. Let's do the Mayday, Mayday, because we are in distress. Mayday is a national call of distress, or whatever they call it. So, yeah, Mayday. We're in trouble, folks. We're in deep trouble. We're in deep doo-doo. So let's all come together tomorrow, and just no worky, no schooly, no shoppy. Let's show the man we mean business. All right? We can show the man we mean business. We're not going to be spending no dollars on them. All right? Let's do it. All right. Yeah, thanks a lot. Those guys showing up. All right, so all we got left to do now is the words of wisdom. And I think I found some words of wisdom for you guys to jot down and to ponder and wise words to live by. Okay, you ready? Okay, so for today's words of wisdom,
Well, it's time to say goodbye show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hostile of Easter, baby, the show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. In my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you wanna take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for us. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love, it's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Show's over, I'm out of here, folks. Bye!